go kill your papa, Emeka. Now my friend Chidi deceive me. I'm sorry, Mama.
Before I tell you this story, I need you to pause whatever you're doing. Put down your phone. Sit down. Because what I'm about to tell you is not a movie. This is not fiction. This is the kind of thing that happens in Lagos, in the same city where people eat suya on the roadside, where children play in front of BRT buses, where men in suits pray in church on Sunday morning. A man killed his own father. Not in anger. Not by accident. He planned it. He paid for it. He watched it happen. And he thought nothing would touch him. He was wrong. Welcome back to our channel. And tonight, we go deep. This is the story of Emeka Okafor, a man who had everything, wanted more, and gave the most precious thing he had to a darkness that gave him nothing back. Lagos. Victoria Island, not the dusty Lagos people joke about. The Lagos of glass buildings and car horns and men who wear watches that cost more than your rent. The Lagos where you can eat at a rooftop restaurant at midnight, look down at the ocean, and feel like you own the whole world. That's where Emeka lived. Third floor apartment, Eco-Atlantic. Black leather sofa. 2 cars in the compound, a Mercedes and a Prado. Designer perfume from a duty-free bag still sitting on his dresser. From the outside, the man had arrived. But here is what nobody saw from the outside. Emeka was drowning. His business was bleeding money. His accounts looked good on Instagram, but the real figures told a different story. He owed 3 people serious money, the kind of people you don't keep waiting. And Emeka had a weakness. He could not stand the idea of being poor again. He had grown up in Mushin, tight corners, shared rooms, hunger that sat in your stomach like a stone. He swore to himself he would never go back. And that vow, that desperate, terrified vow, is what made him listen when Chidi spoke. Emeka Okafor was 34 years old. Brilliant man. Truly. He had built his logistics company from nothing, just 1 truck, 1 phone, and the kind of hustle that only people who have been hungry understand. By 28, he had 5 trucks. By 31, 12. His mother, Mama Emeka, a small woman from Nui who tied her wrapper tight and prayed every morning at 5 a.m., she used to say, "Emeka, God has marked you for greatness." His father, Papa Chakomika, a retired civil servant who still wore his old government ID on a lanyard out of habit, he was so proud of his son that he showed Emeka's picture on his phone to everyone at his church. This man loved his son. And his son knew it. That is what makes this story so dark. Because the enemy that destroyed Emeka did not come from outside. It came in the shape of a friend. Chidi was Emeka's childhood friend. They grew up on the same street in Mushin, went to the same secondary school, shared jollof rice from the same pot during NEPA blackouts. But Chidi took a different road. Nobody knew exactly what Chidi did for money. He never explained it. But by 30, the man had a duplex in Lekki Phase 1. Cash. Always cash. And a way of talking that made wrong things sound reasonable. When Emeka's business started failing, Chidi showed up. I know people, Chidi said one night. They were sitting in Chidi's living room, the air conditioning cold, soft music playing. Spiritual people. These ones, they work. I have seen it work. Emeka laughed it off. The first time. But Chidi kept coming back. Every week, a new story. A friend who did it and now owned a hotel. A man in Abuja who did it and became a senator. And the money kept disappearing from Emeka's accounts. Then came the letter. The bank. The loan. Default notice. 90 days. Emeka sat in his car outside his own apartment and cried for the first time since he was a child. That night, he called Chidi. What do I need to do? Chidi was quiet for a moment. Then he said very slowly. Senior man, for the kind of wealth you want, they will ask for something close to you. Emeka told himself he was just going to listen. Just hear what the man had to say. No commitment. The man Chidi took him to, they called him the consultant, lived in a quiet street in Surolia. Nothing dramatic. A normal gate, a normal house. No candles. No skulls. Just a man in a plain kaftan sitting in a plastic chair, drinking tea, like your neighbor. But the things he said. He knew things about Emeka that Chidi could not have told him. He mentioned a scar on Emeka's left knee from a bicycle fall at age 9. He mentioned the name of Emeka's primary school teacher. Small things. Specific things. And that is how the door opened. Over the next 3 weeks, Emeka visited 4 more times. Each time, the instructions got heavier. Bring this. Bring that. Wear this. Don't eat that. And then on the 5th visit, the consultant said it plainly. The final item. It must come from your blood. From your father's line. A willing or unwilling sacrifice. Emeka stood up. I'm leaving. Sit down, Emeka. He sat down. That moment, that small moment when he sat back down instead of walking out, that was the real decision. Not what came after. That was the door. He told himself he was still just listening. But something in him had already decided. Over the next 2 weeks, Emeka started watching his father. Papa Chakwamika was 61. He visited every Saturday, brought zobo for Emeka, stayed for lunch, watched football, fell asleep in the chair. And Emeka would look at his father sleeping in that chair, this man who had sold his car to pay Emeka's university fees, this man who had a picture of Emeka as his phone wallpaper, and he would think. The bank notice is in 30 days. 30 days. He told Chidi yes. They arranged it for a Saturday. Papa came as usual. Zobo in hand. Smiling his big proud smile. Emeka had been told, put this powder in his drink. That's all. Just the powder. He stood in the kitchen for 11 minutes. His hand was shaking so badly he dropped a glass. He put the powder in the zobo. He carried it to his father. His father said, Emeka, you look tired. Are you okay? Emeka said, I'm fine, Papa. His father drank. By evening, Papa Chakwamika was in the hospital. By the next morning, he was gone. And here is where the story takes the turn that will follow Emeka for the rest of his life. Nothing happened. No wealth. No reversal. No mysterious deposits. No contracts. Nothing. Emeka called Chidi. Chidi's number was switched off. He went to Surolia. The house was empty. The plastic chair was still there. The teacup was still on the floor. But the man, gone. Like smoke. He had been used. Used by men who prey on desperate people. Men who collect valuables, money, jewelry, sometimes worse, from people drowning in fear and then vanish. His father was dead. His money was gone. And the darkness he had invited in, it had not given him power. It had only taken. And it was not done yet. In the weeks after his father's burial, Emeka could not sleep. Not insomnia, something else. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw his father's face. Not a dead face. His father's face before, that proud face, that man who showed your picture to everyone face. He started drinking. Heavily. His business, the one he had been trying to save, collapsed anyway. Without his mind on it, without discipline, the last tracks were repossessed. His mother called him every day. She was grieving and she could feel her son was not right, but she did not know why. His staff left one by one. His girlfriend, Ada, she came to his apartment one evening and found him on the floor, not unconscious, just sitting on the floor in the dark. She left that night and didn't come back. And then there was the investigation. His father's doctor had flagged something irregular. A toxicology question. The hospital escalated it. 2 detectives came to Emeka's door on a Thursday afternoon. He opened the door, saw them, and he didn't even pretend. He just stepped back and let them in. At the station, he broke within 2 hours. He told them everything. Chidi. The consultant. The powder. The zobo. The Saturday. All of it. He was crying so hard the detective had to pause the recording twice. As they led him out in handcuffs, a police officer. A young man, maybe 25, looked at him and said quietly, "For waiting." For what? That question followed Emeka into the cell. Into his trial. Into the sentence. For what? For a wealth that never came. For a life he never got to live. For a father who loved him without condition and never knew, in his last conscious moments, that the person who poisoned him was the son he had given everything for. Now, before you click away, I need you to sit with this for one moment. Because this story is not just about ritual. It is not just about crime. It is about what desperation does to a person when they have no anchor. Our ancestors, the real ones, not the ones in horror movies, they used to say, "Ani wetera aji, weterandu." He who brings kola brings life. Meaning, the things that sustain you are the things closest to you. Your people. Your roots. Emeka did not just lose his father. He destroyed the very thing that could have saved him. Because in all his panic, in all that drowning, he never once called his father and said, "Papa, I'm struggling. Help me." His father had sold a car for him before. He would have done it again. The darkness that consumed Emeka did not start with Chidi. It did not start with the consultant. It started the day Emeka decided that his shame was bigger than his family's love. That is the folktale. Not that rituals are real or not real, but that isolation and pride and desperation, those three things, together, they are the oldest ritual there is. And they have been sacrificing people long before any powder was ever mixed into any drink. Guard your mind. Guard who you let speak into your darkest moments. And if you are drowning, talk to someone. A real someone. Before you do something the rest of your life cannot undo. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something, do one thing for me right now. Hit that subscribe button. Because every week I bring you stories like this, African stories, city stories, true-to-life folktales that carry wisdom wrapped in the kind of drama that will keep you up at night. Drop a comment below. Tell me what part of this story hit you the hardest. And share this with one person in your life who needs to hear a story like this tonight. Thank you for watching. Stay sharp. Stay rooted. And remember, the folktale is never just a story. It is always a mirror. See you next time. Bye for now.